As we approach or come nearer to the feast of Christ the King, you will notice, or we will notice, the readings are about the end times. Because the kingship of the Lord at the end of time, as we always proclaim in the Holy Mass, Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. It is to remind us of where we are and where we are going. Deeper, where we are in whom we are in, and to whom are we going. Between now and the final judgment, between now and the second coming of the Lord, between now and the final days, we are given this interim or the in-between time. This is the period of mercy, the period of grace. In fact, Zoran Kierkegaard will always remind us, do not postpone your commitment. If faith is really that important, if faith is really that crucial, if one's faith is important as it is in relationship with God, then leap of faith. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for the next wave. Row to the boat, as they say it. Do not postpone your commitment. Because in the gospel today, Jesus mentioned two great events in the history of salvation: the flood of Noah and the destruction of Sodom. The people in both instances behaved the same way. Number one, they were doing just what they wanted to do. In fact, these things are sinful in the eyes of God. Despite the warnings of Noah of a flood, they did not study, they did not analyze, they did not consider his proposal. They simply went on with their lives, dismissing all the signs. The same thing with Sodom and Gomorrah, the city destroyed by God because of sinfulness. Again, warnings were sent, but they continued with the mundanity of their doings. They did not mind, they did not consider, they did not care. And so the time was up and they were all destroyed. The third event is already involving us. We are now in this third event. We are warned, we are taught, we are reminded all the time. And we are told to be on watch, to be on guard, because we do not know the hour. And the great temptation of our time is, of our generation, of this age, the great temptation and the great illusion is, there is still time. That's why I will just postpone my conversion. I will just be good tomorrow. I will just study my lessons later. Anyway, there is time. But no, there is no more time. What we have now is grace and mercy. And the same warning will be given to us the next days ahead until our last breath. That is why the lesson number one is, let us not waste our time. Whatever good we can do, do it for the love of Jesus. We are reminded to feed the hungry, to give water to the thirsty, because in the Seminary proposed by Matthew, we will be asked not by our degrees, not by our achievements, but how much we love. I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. And people, just like here, where, Lord? When, Lord? When and where did we see you hungry and thirsty? And the Lord will answer, whatever you do to the least of my brethren, you do it to me. That is the great lesson of love. Our passport to heaven is love of God and love of neighbor. Saint Albert the Great was great not because of his intellect and his great range of knowledge, which were the reasons why he is called great, but greater than these things was his humility to understand that knowledge of everything must bring us to our knees in order to discover that everything is oriented towards God. The more he learned, the more he studied, the more he cultivated knowledge of the sciences, of mathematics, psychology, law, biology, and all kinds of knowledge available to his time, all the more he was convinced of a creator. That is why it is no wonder that his great student, St. Thomas Aquinas, must have derived all his knowledge also from his great teacher. The moment he saw motion in earth, the moment he saw the distinction between necessity and contingency, he formulated the 5 ways of knowing the existence of God. Not because they were intelligent or simply gifted with great knowledge, but because of prayer and because of great observation of the natural world. And from the natural world, it mirrors for them the magnanimity and the majesty of the Creator. It is a great lesson for us. The more we learn, the more we are humble. The more we gaze our attention towards heaven, the more grounded we are. The more earth-bound our feet are. Before we soar and rise to arrogance, we should remember these great people did not go that way. All the more they acknowledge, just like the sun, just like in the psalm, when I look and gaze into your creation, and I look at the heavens, who am I, O Lord, that you take notice of me? So this is the attitude for all of us, whether we increase in our philosophical, theological, scientific knowledge, the more we acknowledge the faith that makes St. Paul or St. John rather, to be mindful of those who are progressive but not remaining in the teaching of Christ. These people do not have God. St. Albert the Great, St. Thomas Aquinas, and all the people of the same mind had God, have God, because they know that it is not divided. They know that it's not separated. Faith and knowledge are one and the same for a disciple and apostle of God. May it be your inspiration, my inspiration, our motivation to learn more about God so that we will learn to love Him more and more. We must decrease and God must increase in our lives. Amen.